Good
Good morning.
morning.
You know, I
It's
think you're the only I think you're the only one I say good morning to that cheerfully, to be honest with you.
ah,
Because around my house, it's morning, morning. Everybody's tired.
aw,
But I will tell you, the other day I had a sound bath and I slept like a baby. I
mm,
woke up the next morning feeling like I was done sleeping. And even though I usually sleep really well, rarely do I feel like, oh, I'm done. I feel good. So points again to sound bath and rest and restoration.
yeah. So exciting, exciting. You have your first Murphy, North Carolina sound bath.
I do. It's tonight. I am so excited. Get to see how the space, feels with people in it and get to bang on all the instruments. Well, no banging, but I don't like jarring sound baths. I like soft sound baths. But I'll tell you one thing I didn't think about coming up here was I have to get there early enough to let my drum warm up because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
cold and so it's super tight. So I have to crank up the heat, let the drum like get to the right looseness, you know what I mean? So it sounds right.
Oh,
Yeah.
me as a non-sound bath person, I did not know. And that, so when we have sweat lodge here, people that bring their drums, they line their drums up by the fire. I
Yeah.
just thought they were doing it for, because they, the fire is treated with great reverence and like everything that goes on like everything gets blessed by the fire, the stuff
Right.
that goes on the altar. And so I just thought that they were putting their drums there to like be blessed by the fire, but they're probably heating up their drums. Never
Yeah.
thought of
I mean,
that.
it's an animal skin, right? And like anything else in the cold, it contracts, so it gets real tight. And then if you bang on it, it sounds tinny, it's like bink,
Right?
bink, bink, right? As opposed to like the, reverberating deep
Mhm.
tone. So yeah, that'll be an experiment. If I can't get it to the exact sound I want, I won't use it. But it's definitely something that I've been experimenting with. Someone I actually had, it was kind of funny. I went to this Cherokee, Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, Eastern Band, Cherokee Eastern Band. I don't have the words in the right order. Cherokee Eastern Band Tribe, something like that. Anyway, sorry, I will figure it out better next time. But he said if your drum gets tight, just set it on the hood of your car for 5 minutes while your car is running. And I was like, oh, is that how they did it in the ancient ways? I was like,
It is,
okay.
it just, I think about that a lot with, as we keep these traditions in, and I understand that like much of it, we do want to respect the ancient ways, but we are also living in modern times. And so there's things that, they were important then, but they aren't important now. And so we get to be flexible and weave. And, when um, some of the rigidity sometimes about ancient ways, I'm like, is that really important, or you just creating problems for like I don't even know how to
Yeah.
put it right into the words, but there's certain things that yes are really important, and certain things like let's be free, let's evolve.
Yeah. It's interesting because I understand how in any culture you want to and need to preserve the culture, hang on to particular ways of doing things, right? And also there are things that have made life easier. Better, I don't know, but easier, yes, right? So like the dishwasher or the washing machine, right? Like I'm super grateful for it. I'm glad I don't have to go down to the river and hit my clothes against rocks. But then Also, if I did, I'd probably be a lot healthier. And also, I wouldn't be able to pay my mortgage because I'd be banging my clothes against rocks against the river. So, I don't know. It's really interesting, you know. It's really worth a conversation. But what I'll say is that I think there's no wrong and no right as long as you are doing everything in a, respectful way. Do what works for you, Every culture does something different, so there's no one true way of doing things, right? I mean, if you're on this side of the continental divide, you do it one way, and on the other side you do it the other way, tomato tomato. So, anywho, I'm going to share my new mug I was
Hard
gifted.
to, what does it
It's
say? Because it's not really.
It says, support your local witches.
Ah,
Somebody gave me that.
yes.
Which, for those freaking out, I think witches is just a nice word for, herbalists,
Well, and
people. Witches get such
there's
a bad rap, right?
they get such a bad rap, and there's so much more depth to it than what people, we've got in our mind, like the Halloween witch, and the scary witch, and um, you know, like Wiccan is a religion, and it's a very like earth magic. Um, I laugh because I do have a lot of friends who are practitioners of the Wiccan ways, and a lot of them call me a witch, but I'm like, I did that in other lifetimes. Like, I don't. I'm also very like anti-label in this lifetime. Like, let's drop
Totally.
all the labels. Like, we're all one. We're all the same. And yes, I carry a lot of the beliefs that Wiccans do, and I practice some of the things that Wiccans practice, but I don't label myself as that. But I fully support all of the witches out there.
Totally. Totally. I love it. So what do we got on the burner for today?
Today's talking about embracing stillness in a busy world. And I have to say, like, for the most part, I I view my life as so much simpler because I don't have children. Like, that puts a whole different level of everything in the mix. Um, but I think like when I'm doing things that I love, it doesn't feel like busy.
Hmm.
I can be doing a lot of things and not label it as busy. I tend to pull out the word busy when I am getting a little bit overwhelmed and it's getting into a space of too much. Um, but I can be very active and have a very full schedule and not feel busy.
Yeah. I think there's an emptiness in the word busy. Um, like
Mm,
I have lots of things to do, but none of them make me happy. That's how I interpret the word busy. Um,
mhm.
as opposed to, like you said, active, flourishing, excited, jam-packed schedule full of things I love to do. You wouldn't call that busy, at least for me anyway. And when I think of busy, I think of traffic in South Florida. That's my that's my PTSD. All these
Right.
people rushing around trying to get to nowhere for nothing, to do something they don't want to do, to round out the life that they don't even like. And I put myself in that category. I mean, I spent years doing stuff I did not want to do because I thought it was things that I had to do. And in during that time frame when I was living like that, the way that I embraced stillness was trying to be as present as I could be. So like I'm always stressed in traffic. That's one hurdle I have not overcome yet. But when I get to where I'm going, I feel like, okay, be here now. Don't That's why I don't wear a watch. Like, put the phone away, just be here, be in the moment. And that to me feels still. Um, what drives me nuts and makes me feel busy is like being at one place, thinking about having to go to the next place and what I have to do after that and what time is it and did I take too long and what's going on and what am I supposed to be doing here? And that to me feels busy, you know. Um, and then the question has the world, in a busy world, right? Like, yeah, the whole world is busy, but the slice that I have in it, at least right now, it's still, I can't talk enough about the trees and the view, and that to me helps my sanity a lot. That
I
helps
was just
me.
gonna say, like, nature absolutely helps create stillness. And even for me sitting in this lovely forest today, I'm gonna laugh because, obviously it's a virtual background, but there is something about having that as my background right now that helps me feel more still. Cacao makes me feel still.
Yeah.
Um, journaling makes me feel still.
Mm,
And
mm,
I have to say, I since January 1, I mean, I know like this isn't about resolutions or anything, but I've talked a little bit how, the crone that I am, like my body is feeling very cronish, and it's I have been blessed with a body that has always been very strong, very flexible, very healthy. Um and I've I'm just gonna say, like, I didn't respect that very much. I took it for granted. I didn't
mhm.
really have to do anything to create that body. But now that I've passed into the crone phase of life, like my body's like, hello, you have to take care of us. And so I have really like dug deep. I've been cleansing, and I've also been setting my alarm clock earlier. So I've been getting up and meditating every morning and doing journaling. And it definitely makes a difference as to how the rest of the day unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that and especially from the perspective as a mom, of like when the kids were really little, morning times were equal parts beautiful because like it's really sweet to see your kids wake up and an absolute nightmare. Like everybody pitches a fit. Nobody wants to put their shoes on. Nobody wants to wear a jacket in the cold. You're trying to strap everybody in the car. Everybody's like straightening out their bodies and trying to not get strapped in. Like that is the absolute most assaulting way to start the day, So yeah, had I had that part of my life to do over again, I would have absolutely added like a morning practice because I really, really believe in how you start the day sets the tone, and at least gives you something to come back to, right, as the day goes, And the part I love about all these little like micro rituals that I do is that they kind of bring me back to that place quickly, right? More quickly. So even if I'm I don't know, driving somewhere and I start to feel stressed, like if I play the same music that I play in the morning while I'm doing my cacao, for example, it can bring me closer to that experience, right? Closer to that peace. Same thing with incense, it's so funny. I think the first time I started using incense, I was like high school, maybe college, something like that, and I hadn't used incense in a really long time. And then my friend gifted me a pack of incense. And when I turned it on, immediately it took me right back to where I was. I started crying. Like I just had like a whole experience. And it was just incense, So definitely the power of the senses, I think. Creating things that make you feel still and then just having them handy. Really.
One thing I was going to say about, you're talking about traffic still being an issue, although how is there traffic in Murphy? I don't
No, there
know.
isn't. There isn't.
But one thing that I notice, I listen to audiobooks, podcasts, that kind of stuff when I'm in my car. And I notice with that, like, obviously, like I'm paying attention and I'm driving safely and everything, but what's happening outside of my car matters so much less because I'm being entertained or educated or transported in the story, in the lessons and whatever. And so I find that like I, I used to always only listen to music in the car, but once I made the switch, like uh driving is like whatever, like because
Yeah.
I'm doing something that feels really good while I'm driving, which is something that I don't particularly enjoy. you know I I'm not afraid to drive. I don't like just, but having someone to tell me a story is much
Well,
easier.
I am thoroughly impressed, because if I were to try an audiobook, first of all, my eyes need to be in sync with what I'm hearing, because if not, I will drive right off the road. Like, it doesn't, I can't, I would have to rewind that chapter 100 times. Like, it
Mm.
doesn't, even when I listen to a podcast, like, I sit at my desk and I have something to look at so that I can like focus on the podcast, because if not, they're talking and I'm like wondering, like, oh, so then on Tuesday, if I leave at 4 o'clock, then I'll get, and I'll be like, oh, wait, shit, they're talking. What was it? What was he saying? And I'll have to go back again, especially if they talk slow. That's something that I learned from an ADHD coach. Yes, take that speed button on anything that's on YouTube and I put it like at 1.5. It's so much better.
It's so funny because like I don't feel like we're talking slow, but even when I listen back to our own podcast, I'm like, oh my God. I speed us up
Totally.
too. And anytime I'm listening to something at normal speed now, I'm like, why are they talking so slow?
Yeah. I did a one of the courses that we took, the instructor speaks very intentionally and very slowly, and I only listened to her like at double the speed. Like, I have
Exactly.
no idea what she sounds like in real life, but I do know what she sounds like as a cartoon character. Very smart, just fast. Let's go.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and I do the same thing. It's
Yeah.
funny. Last week I was listening to something where the host would speak at one speed and the guest would speak at another speed, and I'm like, to be as fast as I wanted to listen to the host, but then the guest would be like, and I was like, I can't listen that fast. Like my brain can't compute. But
Too much, too much. It's also crazy. Um, So remember how we used to ask people for, I'm just going to switch lanes here. See, ADD. We used to do library, tell us a book to go into our library. So it's been a long time since a guest has given us a book. But I wanted to show you that I started reading this one.
mm,
Rebecca Campbell's Light is the New Black. It's on the list and I just cracked it open the other day. You read it already?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
forever ago.
You have time. You have time. You have time and mental bandwidth apparently, because you can drive and listen to a podcast. So what do you got
Oops,
there?
how do I?
Oh, the service
The
berry.
service
Yay.
berry. I read this in a day. Like it was
Yeah.
so like I couldn't stop. Like
Yeah.
I have to say that Robin Wall Kimmerer has like her way of writing is just so easy and pleasant to read. Like talk about creating stillness. Like reading her words feels like stillness. I haven't read, is it Collecting Moss or something like that?
Gathering moss.
Gathering Moss. Have you read that?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah. It is she her words are so lyrical, so intentional. Reading her books, it's like eating chocolate cake. Like, it is such a delight. And it's almost poetic the way that she writes. But it's not like poetry. You have to like read it, feel it, interpret it. What does it mean to you? Da, da, da. This is not like that. It's just lyrical. I think is the best term I can come up with for the way that she writes. She wraps you into it. She makes you feel what you should be feeling when when you talk about nature. More and more her messages are, I think, even more and more important. But yeah, that's a wonderful book.
So yeah, like if you're out there listening and you're reading something really good right now that you think we should check out, please put it in the comments. We're always looking for new good books to read. Good morning, Tracy Samples.
Good
I
morning.
I want to give a huge shout out to Tracy. As part of my, like, it's time for me to take better care of me. I put Tracy back into my routine. And like, literally on New Year's Day, I was sitting there thinking about, like, okay, what does my body need? And my body was like, your body needs Tracy. And because it's always interesting, like when you are the person that helps heal other people's bodies, the question is always who helps you heal your bodies. And Tracy is one of those rock stars that, and life did get crazy with, the ministry and all the stuff that we're adding in. And I was doing some other things, also kind of tapping into how can I heal myself. And I just, you know, for whatever reason, did not get over to see her. And so January 1, I'm like, I pop up her schedule and I'm like, I was so excited when I like literally got an appointment the next day to go see her. And my body is so grateful that I went and did that, because I'm gonna make it a regular thing. Like at least once a month, I'm gonna go see her because it
There
makes a
you go.
difference.
There you go. And since we're talking on Tracy this morning, I will tell you that last night I was don't laugh at me, but I love doing like little hand massages on my boyfriend and stuff. So I was putting lotion on his hands. He works very hard. They were very dry. And so I was massaging his hands, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to do that thing that Tracy does where she goes down all of your fingers and it feels so good." And my partner is a huge Tracy fan. Like when Tracy moved to a different town, he would literally swing by her town and get a massage, and then he'd call me from there going, "Oh, I'm at Tracy's. You're not here." So yeah, thank you, Tracy. So, anywho, another wonderful day. 2222. We've been on the air. I don't know what that means, but it's got to be good.
It's magical, whatever it is.
It is.
Anyway, you got anything else for today?
That's it. It's got an exciting day ahead. So find your stillness. Don't let the busyness of the world drive you crazy. And you know what? You were talking about even looking at the trees, and it's true. Looking at the trees makes you feel calm. Looking at something far away in the distance relaxes your nervous system. Looking at a picture of nature actually does something for you. So there's absolute science and magic all mixed together in there. So connect with nature today. That's my message.
Yay. All right. Connecting with nature. Show that our 4 elements retreat. That's going to be lots of nature and stillness.
Yes, it is. That's going to be fabulous. Middle of June, gorgeous, gorgeous time of year here. Absolutely alive. Definitely limited spots. So give us a call. You can find us. We'll tell you all about it.
Whoop, whoop. All right. With that, I'm going to wish everybody a still magical day.
Bye.